Shavuot, the day when of Matan Torah, we say in Yalaviyo, Zman Matan Toratenu, the day when you gave over the Torah. Is there a difference between giving over the Torah and receiving the Torah? Is it the same thing? In essence, when you have any transaction, you need a person who gives an offer and a person who accepts the offer, right? So you could say, well, Matan Torah is giving over the Torah, and then Kabalat Torah will basically be passive. As I just said, oh, you want to give the Torah, I'll just accept it. Or is Kabalat Torah have to be something active? It's not enough just to be there saying, I'm ready. In the Torah, that is impossible to say, it's not from hearsay. Let's say the 10 plagues in Egypt, how do they know it? Basically, you could say it's hearsay, right? The rest of the world. There's 3 events that no one in the world could say it's hearsay, because everybody in the world experienced it. What events are they? Let's see if anybody could catch them. What events are there that was worldwide? Everybody in the world knew there's something's happening. That's one of them. At Har Sinai. I'm talking about now by Yetziat Mitzrayim, right? But one of them would be Har Sinai, because in Har Sinai we'll get to it in the Gemara. We'll see it was something that was the whole world was shaking, and people didn't know what was happening. All right, we'll get to that though soon. Bezrat Hashem. What's the other 2? Yam Suf, right? When Hashem split the waters in Yam Suf, right? All the waters in the whole world split, right? It's there was this cute cartoon when I was a kid going around where this mother goes to this kid and says, Moses, I told you not to play with your food. And you see this kid in his high chair with the soup and it splits. Might not know what, but you have Bilam. Bilam is a Navi. And they go to Bilam. One second, what's the third one though? That's a little harder already. Well, what did Yitro hear? Vayishma Yitro. What are the 2 things that Yitro heard that made him come?
Hashem did to the Egyptians.
No, that's he's thanking Hashem for what he did to the Egyptians. But what? Amalek. Why Amalek? What's this? How did he hear about Amalek? Amalek seems to be a localized thing that happened in the desert. Why, where would Amalek be something that would be world known?
Amalek is #1 nation.
Okay, yes, but the thing is, how did he know about it in Midian? They didn't have media, social media, whatever you call it, that they could get messages across so fast. But something happened during Milchemet, during the war of Amalek. What happened? Amalek, they were magicians, and they worked with Bilam also. And he works with different astronomical events to make things happen. They were waiting for the specific time of day when they could really attack Am Yisrael and be effective. Moshe thwarted this event by just stopping the day. Like we know by Yeshua, it says, Shemesh b'givon dom. It happened by Moshe first. Moshe said, okay, here's the sun and the moon. Let's stop right now, right? And the war is going to continue till we're ready. But the whole world sees that the day stopped. These are events that are happening, and they see it. Now, what did they do? There's a Gemara in Avodah Zarah. The Gemara there says what's going to be when Mashiach comes and everything else. And all the nations of the world are going to demand reward. Anyway, Hashem's going to push them off, saying you don't deserve any reward. Now they say, listen, you were not fair. You gave the Jews Moshe Rabbeinu, and that's why they accepted the Torah. They had this leader. We didn't have Moshe Rabbeinu. So Hashem says, yeah, but I gave you a Navi that is at least, if not more, than Moshe Rabbeinu, Bilam. Why didn't you use him? Now, that's what the Gemara answers. The question is still there. Hashem, you gave Am Yisrael Moshe Rabbeinu. this big tzaddik. Who did you give to the goyim? The biggest Russia you have in the world, Bilam, right? How can you expect from there to get to be ready to accept the Torah? Except what is Hashem teaching them? What happened when all these things happened? They run to Bilam. Comes Matan Torah. The whole world is shaking. They run to Bilam. Is the world ending now? What's happening? And he says, don't worry. It's just Hashem is giving his children the Torah. Go back home. Nothing's going to happen, right? Now, what should the proper reaction be? The world is shaking. What should their reaction be? Let's go. What's happening? Let's see. Hashem is going to speak to the people we get, and everybody heard it. It was in every single language. Everybody heard what Hashem spoke. Let's go. No, but Bilam says it's not for you. You go home. You don't have to have a part of this, right? And these Rishaim, they followed Bilam's advice. Instead of running after Hashem into the Midbar, they ran after Bilam. They followed Bilam because that's who they were. Right? It wasn't that they Hashem gave him Bilam and said, listen, you believe there's a Navi, right? So go to Moshe. Because you're going to Bilam. You don't want to go to Moshe. So then what are you asking for reward? For what? For not going? So that's these events were something that were earth-shattering. We get to when we get to Kabalat Torah, right? Everybody is aware, right, of the midrash, what the pasuk says. Everybody, when Hashem asked all the nations, "Are you willing to keep the Torah?" So they pushed it away. When it came to Am Yisrael, he said, "Naaseh v'nishma." Now everybody heard the Kriyat Torah last week. Did you see it said there, "Naaseh v'nishma"? Before Kabbalat Torah? No, because it didn't, right? It said before, Vayavo Moshe v'yikol ziknei ha'am, v'yasem lehem et kol dvim ha'eila shetzivah Hashem. Moshe came down, said, this is what Hashem commanded, this is what you have to do to prepare for getting the Torah. Vayanu kol ha'am yachdav. And everybody in the nation together, they answered, Vayomru kol asher diber Hashem na'aseh. Whatever Hashem said to do, we're going to do. Doesn't say v'nishma, right? Where does it say na'aseh v'nishma? In this week's parsha. At the end of this week's parsha, it says, in Perek Chav Daled Pasuk Zayin, it says Vayikach Sefer Brit, Vayikra Baznei Ha'am. Right? Hashem took Moshe took the Sefer Brit, read it in front of everybody. Vayomru kol asher diber Hashem na'aseh v'nishma. Okay, now the question is, why is there a distinction between one place it says na'aseh v'nishma, one place only says na'aseh? There's another difference in the psukim. Does anybody pick up on it? In the first pasuk, when it says there, I'm going to read it again. Vayanu kol ha'am yachdav. Yachdav is a big sisma nowadays. Everybody says yachdav, yachad, right? They said biyachad, and they said naaseh. Here it doesn't say yachdav. Here it just says vayanu. Where is it? Pasuk Zayin. Yeah, vayomru kol asher diber Hashem na'aseh v'nishma. But it doesn't say yachtav. The Chofetz Chaim picks up on all these differences, and he resolves the two psukim. He says there's a difference between if I wanted to keep the whole Torah, all 613 mitzvot, can I do it?
No.
Why not?
We don't have the going in.
I'm not a Kohen. I want to do the mitzvahs. I can't do the mitzvah of a Kohen. I can't do the mitzvah of a king. I can't do the mitzvah of a woman. Right? Excuse me? Well, that I can be part of.
You can be part of, but
that I can be part.
You can't do everything.
All right, but I could be part of that mitzvah. I could do that mitzvah. I'm saying a mitzvah that I cannot do. I am not a Kohen. I can't do all the mitzvot that only a Kohen is allowed to do. I can't do the mitzvot that only a king is allowed to do. There's certain things that apply to certain groups. If I want to keep the whole Torah, how can I do it? So there's two ways. There's two ways I could do it. One way is what we call unishalma parim sfatenu. Unishalma parim sfatenu is if I learn the laws of a korban, right? It is as if I made the korban. The learning in the Shama, you take my lips, what I say from my lips, and change it into action. What I say now is happening. If I'm learning how to do one thing, I've just done it. So through the learning of Torah, I can do every mitzvah in the Torah. Whatever, I have to just learn all the mitzvot in the Torah, right? Not an easy task, but I can do it. There's another way of keeping all the mitzvot in the Torah, from what's called Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Lezeh. Everybody is responsible for the other. If as a group, if everybody does what they're responsible for, and we are one part of this group, we together can do the whole Torah. Okay? So now, if we look at the psukim, we can see that both of these views are expressed in the pasuk. One says, Vayanu kol ha'am yachdav. The whole nation said together, as one. As one, they're using Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Lezeh. So there, by each one doing the laws that applies to them, then all I need is Kol Asher Diber Hashem Na'aseh. Each one will do what we're supposed to do. Together, we have done the whole Torah, all 613 mitzvot. The second pasuk doesn't say Yachdav. It says everybody said it, but not together. Okay, so now how can each individual keep the Torah? Na'aseh v'nishma. As what I can do, I will do. What I can't do, I will learn. Through the learning, I have done it. There's these two psukim. There's giving me two different ways of how I can do all the mitzvot in the Torah, all the 613 mitzvot. I asked before, is what's the action of receiving the Torah, right? Is it passive or active? All right, and as if we'll get into the midrashim. I don't know if we'll get to it today, but you'll see that it's not just we were sitting back in a lounge chair, right, waiting for Hashem to give the Torah. It was an event that was taking up our whole being during this event. But
It was Nevoah, no?
excuse me,
It was Nevoah. Nevoah, it was prophecy.
it's a lot more than that.
I mean, it's collective, it's the nation.
So that's one thing. That's one. By the way, it's very important. The Torah says there's no other nation in the world that can stake claim to this, that a nation as one received the Torah all together. They heard Hashem speak at Har Sinai, right? And they received the Torah. No other nation in the world could ever make that claim because it never happened. It never will happen. There's only something that happened to Am Yisrael. And we have the capability of making such a claim. Everybody else, they had a dream, whatever it is, right? It's or stories, whatever. Not little things, but a whole nation. We're talking about 600,000 men between the ages of 20 and 50, women, children, elders. You're talking about at least 3 million people were there, and they all saw it. Right? And Hashem says to them, this is not something you heard, this is something you experienced. And you can tell your children, this is what you experienced. And then when you tell your children, right, you basically become, when you testimony, that this is what happened to them. Now, when a court receives testimony, it is fact. It is not hearsay. It is fact. I'm going to kill somebody upon this testimony. That means it's actual. We know it's there. But the judges didn't see what's happened. They're relying on what he said. Yeah, but when a person testifies, they're saying this is what happened. We have a testimony coming from the time of Har Sinai till today, without a break, generation after generation, father to son, where the father is testifying, this is what happened to me. How does it happen to me? Because his father told him it happened to him, which told him it happened to him, till the forefathers would happen to them at Har Sinai. Each one is testifying, this is what happened. And now, when it comes Pesach, we have to realize the importance of Pesach. We are giving over that testimony to the next generation. They now have to take this testimony and give it over to the next generation. But right now, I am the one who left Mitzrayim. I am the one that had all these experiences that I've accepted. And now I'm giving that over the way it was given to me. And we have that chain of events where there was never a break. Not like a 300-year gap where then all of a sudden somebody wakes up and says, oh, this is what happened, right? There was no gaps. There's the direct link from Moshe Rabbeinu till us today. You learn Bezrat Hashem. Maimon it says, from Moshe to Moshe, I'm giving you now the link in the chain, how the Torah got to me. Person by person. Moshe to Yeshua, the Zkanim, Nevi'im, and he goes, each one, each generation, till it gets to him. He says, and now I am I'm in that chain. I'm that link in that chain, and the Torah. Anyway, I want to bring a Gemara, which there's so many different things about what happened, what was going on at the time when Moshe went up at Har Sinai. So one Gemara says, B'sha'ash Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, B'sha'ash ala Moshe l'marom. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, the whole 2 pages here of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi describing what it was like at the time of receiving the Torah, and what was it like when Moshe went up to Har Sinai. So he says, Moshe goes up to Har Sinai. What happened? Matza'o HaKadosh Baruch Hu shu kosher ktarim, the otiyot. He finds that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is tying crowns. If you look in the Sefer Torah, you see on top of the letters, Shatnez Gat, on those letters, there are crowns. And he sees that Hashem is tying on the crowns onto the letters, right? And he's waiting there. Amarlo, come here in my house. You can't say hello. There's no shalom by you, right? So he's Amar lefanav. So Moshe Rabbeinu says to Kadosh Baruch Hu, Klum yesh evet shenoten shalom lerabo. What, a servant comes to his master and he goes and says shalom? There's no. I can't do that. It's not proper. Amar le. So Kadosh Baruch Hu said, Haya lecha lozreini. You should have helped me. Don't understand. Miyad amar lo. And then Moshe said, okay. He said to him, V'ata yigdalna koach Hashem. Now I will make the power of Hashem greater. Kasher dibarta, the way you told me to say. And so I said, Hashem kerachum chanun. I'm doing it. What's going on? I mean, the whole thing here is, first of all, Hashem, I think he could have finished the Torah before Moshe got there. You know, what do you mean Moshe gets there? And Hashem is busy. He's tying the crowns on the Torah. What's happening? And now Moshe says, okay, I'll wait. And yes.
The crowns are in the written Torah or only in the old Torah?
The written Torah. The written Torah. On the letters Shin, Shatnez Gatz, Shin, Tet, Nun, Zayin, Gimel, Tzadik, those letters on, if you look in the Sefer Torah or Tikkun Sofrim, also will probably you have these crowns on those letters.
Shin, Nun, Tet, Zayin.
Yeah. Some of the letters have the exceptions, but those are the rule. All right, so there's these crowns. All right, but the question is, what is happening? What is this dialogue between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Moshe Rabbeinu? It seems to me, right, that is basically the topic that I want to discuss. Moshe Rabbeinu comes up to Har Sinai. Is he, in this, when he's receiving the Torah, is he active or passive? He's coming to say, look, Hashem, you're giving over the Torah. What's the action? What action are you referring to?
He's not doing anything.
So that's passive.
That's passive, but he's doing.
So
at the moment, he's not doing anything.
Okay, But at that moment, Hashem is telling him, you're supposed to be doing something. And he doesn't know. What?
But he doesn't know.
Oh, so here the thing, but this is sort of like you think it's a passive thing to receive the Torah. I couldn't do it beforehand. I could have finished everything before, right? But I need you. I could, if I just put the Torah down without anybody receiving the Torah, I don't give it over to anybody. I need someone to receive the Torah. I need your help. Stick out your hand. Something, right? Say shalom. Saying shalom, that's already an action on your side. That would be showing that you are receiving the Torah. If no one's there to receive the Torah, there is no giving over the Torah. Hashem is telling Moshe, Moshe says, who am I? I'm a nobody. This is your gift. This is your Torah. The whole world is based on this. I should think that's mine, that I'm doing something, I'm receiving it. Hashem says, yes. Without you receiving it, I cannot give it. And right away Moshe says, okay, so therefore I will do my share now. What's my share? Now I will make the strength of Hashem greater the way you said I should say it. The things you've taught me to say, I'm going to do it here. And that's where I'm doing my action of receiving the Torah. So even though when we were at Har Sinai, right, we were basically receiving the Torah then, right, there wasn't that same interaction where we were active in doing something to receive the Torah. Our standing there was our action, ready to receive the Torah. But we needed the rest had to come from Hashem. And there is two sides to this transaction, the giving and the receiving. When we get to Bnei Yisrael receiving the Torah, so the whole world has to be involved here, and things are going to be happening in the whole world. Bezrat Hashem, we'll get to it soon. When in the beginning of this when the Gemara discusses about Mamad Har Sinai, it says here, and it says Vayityatvu b'tachtit tahar. First, it quotes a pasuk. Bnei Yisrael stood b'tachtit tahar. Now, a tachtit tahar would translate it as at the bottom of the mountain, but a tachtit is this is the bottom. So if I have the mountain and I'm sitting at the bottom of the mountain, so the mountain is above, right? Milamed, Amar Rav Dimi Bachama Bachasa, Milamed shekafa lehem et ahar kigigit. Hashem took the mountain, put it over them, gigit, like a barrel, right? It's hanging over them, and he said, "V'amar lehem, im atem mekablim et Torah mutav." If you're willing to accept the Torah, if you're willing to accept the Torah, everything's going to be fine. V'im lav, but if you're not, sham tiyeh kvuatchem, there's going to be your burial place. Now, it's sort of a little, I would say, coercion, right? Yeah, I'm giving you a choice, right? You see this mountain, if you want, you can accept the Torah. If you don't want, finished. The Gemara asks this question. Imken, Amar Rav Acha Bar Yaakov, Mikam Moda'ala Rabala Raita. From here, everybody can have an answer to the Torah. Come to Shemaim and it's going to ask, why didn't you learn Torah? Right? So you'll say, you gave me a choice? You forced it on me. If you would have asked me nicely, maybe I wouldn't have accepted it. And then you want me to be liable for the things in the Torah that I didn't do, and I did do that I shouldn't have done. You didn't give me a choice, right? And it will be according to what we just learned now, according to Rav Dimi Bachama, it's a valid claim, and the Gemara doesn't push that claim off. But the Gemara says, Amarava. They accepted it again. See the acceptance here. In the days of Achashverosh, there was a giving over the Torah against their will, and it was accepted. But the claim now, and at the times of Achashverosh, it was already given over. It was accepted. There was an acceptance at that point, where we accepted it without, well, there was pressure also. Haman was going to kill us, but it was not pressure from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even though Haman was from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Thing here is, by the way, just an aside, from basically Rosh Chodesh, last Rosh Chodesh, we're now starting Rosh Chodesh Adar, right? Mishenichtas Adar, Mabim B'Simcha. But if we go back from Rosh Chodesh Shvat, we'll find from then till Shavuot, every 2 weeks there's some event. So Rosh Chodesh is an event. 2 weeks later, Tu B'Shvat. 2 weeks later, Rosh Chodesh Adar. 2 weeks later, well, this year is Purim Katan. 2 weeks later, Rosh Chodesh. 2 weeks later, Purim. 2 weeks later, Rosh Chodesh Nisan. 2 weeks later, Pesach. 2 weeks later, Rosh Chodesh Iyar. 2 weeks later, well, before Lag BaOmer, but it's Pesach Sheni. Pesach Sheni, right? And then again, 2 weeks later, Rosh Chodesh and Kabalat Torah. So basically, from then till from last Rosh Chodesh till Shavuot, every month you don't go 2 weeks without having something simcha, with something happening. Anyway, the questions here is still, what's this putting the mountain over the head? What mountain are we talking about? Right? It's not necessarily Har Sinai. The Rav Shimfel Hirsch, he says, this mountain that Hashem took over was Har HaMoriah, which is basically the Makom HaMikdash also, the place of the Mikdash. This is the mountain where Avraham Avinu brought Yitzchak and was ready to sacrifice it for Hashem. Now Hashem is taking this mountain and bringing it up on top of Am Yisrael. He says, listen, if you receive the Torah, this mountain has value. There's something to this mountain that exists, and it speaks to the world. But if you don't and you're not going to accept the Torah, this mountain has no value anymore. It's just a piece of dirt. Har Sinai. Har Sinai, if you want to go today and go climb up Har Sinai, you can. If the Egyptians will let you, go ahead. I mean, after the 6-day war, people did go. You know, when we had the Sinai in our hands, people went up to Har Sinai. Yeah, you know where it is. Yeah, it's very interesting. What?
No, they didn't. We don't know which one was Har Sinai.
No. People climbed up. They used to climb up for sunrise, to be on top at sunrise to see the Har Sinai. There's something interesting about the rocks of Har Sinai. I used to have one. I don't have the rocks of Har Sinai has like these veins. If you look at it, it's like blue veins coming. It's a sneh. It's like this burning bush, right? You take the rock and you look at it. You see every angle. There's this, or you'll see this bush. Take this rock, cut it in half. Both sides will have the bush. Cut that one in half. They'll all have the bush. You keep on cutting the rock down. They'll always have this bush in it. You know, it's I think this is only unique to Har Sinai. I don't know. I haven't heard of this in any other place, but there is such a thing. You know, as you keep on dividing it over and over, the bush keeps on staying into the rock. All right. So they have even. I think they just archaeologists discovered around Har Sinai the ovens where Bezalel made the metals and stuff for the Mishkan. I think they found they're working. It's just a new thing, but that will be around. Area.
Are we not supposed to know where Har Sinai is? Or
What?
Moshe?
No, Har Nevo, where Moshe's buried.
Okay.
Where Moshe's buried in Har Nevo. But Har Sinai, but the thing is, Har Sinai is only special when Hashem is giving the Torah on Har Sinai. After that, it's gone. Har Sinai is back to being the mountain it was before. Right? Har Moriah not. The mountain where Avram Avinu took Yitzchak and was ready to sacrifice it to Hashem, that mountain, Hashem says, has value. If you accept it to exist. The later the Gemara is going to say, Vayi'er vayivoke yom hashishi. It says when Hashem. It said in every day of creation. It says Vayev Vayevoke Yom Echad, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi. When it comes to the sixth day, Yom HaShishi. There's extra hay there, and it sticks out. And what's the difference between that day and every other day? So the Gemara says it's not referring to the sixth day of creation. It's referring to the sixth day of Sivan. The sixth day of Sivan was when we received the Torah. And Hashem said with all creation, I am making now a conditional creation. If Bnei Yisrael on the 6th, Ha-Shishi, on the 6th of Sivan, accepts the Torah, you all exist. If the Bnei Yisrael will not accept the Torah, I'm reverting you all back to Tohu Vavohu. You're going back to a state of nothingness. Because there's no reason for the world to exist if no one's going to keep the Torah. So there was a condition in creation. That's why when Bnei Yisrael were getting ready to accept the Torah, the whole world was shaking. Are they going to accept it or not? If they accept it, the whole world can survive. If they don't accept it, the whole world ceases. And that's what the Gemara said before. It says, if you don't accept the Torah, Sham tiyeh kvatchem. There's going to be your burial place. Not here. Not here. There. Where's there? The 6 days of creation. I'm reverting everything back to nothingness. You're going to be ceased. That's your kever. Your grave is going to be there in creation because everything's going to stop to exist. Not kan. Not here is going to be under the mountain. Not like we understood at the beginning. I'll take the mountain and crash it on you. It's an understanding with accepting the Torah. But still, we have to accept the Torah being forced. The Torah cannot be accepted willingly. Because if we accept the Torah willingly, I said, okay, then I want it, now I don't want. I have to have the Torah forced down my throat to a point where there's no way for me to get out of it. You have a person rapes somebody. What's the law with a woman that's raped? What? Before that? What?
She will be her husband forever.
He has to marry her. And not only that, lo tuchal shalcha kol yamav. He can never send her away. Right? He cannot get rid of her. The connection Hashem wants between Hashem, the Torah, and Am Yisrael has to be that kind of connection that can never be severed. If it was done willingly, so I wanted, I could not want now. But it wasn't done willingly. Hashem said, and this is now, we're in that situation where we cannot be ever separated from Hashem. Whereas, by Haman, in Purim, there, we accepted it willingly. As it was no longer forced upon us, we said, we want to keep the Torah. Yes?
But isn't in the text that when we first come to Har Sinai, and Moshe goes up to Hashem, and he comes down, he speaks to the Skanim.
Right.
And he asks them.
Right.
And they say yes.
All right. Yes. You're right.
The leaders of the people. They represent
True.
the people to Moshe.
I'm not. The Gemara is not arguing on the midrash that Hashem went to every nation and said, well, "Are you willing to accept the Torah?" And they said no, and Am Yisrael said yes. Right? That's not under dispute. That's what happened. The question is, at the time of the giving of the Torah, under the chuppah, where the mountain is on top of you, that's the chuppah, right? At that time, it has to be given over.
As if we accept this.
We have already accepted.
This mountain is floating over us. I mean,
right.
That's one interpretation of the text. That's not the only interpretation of the text.
Yeah. If you want, you know what? You could find me another one. Even the others that explain this, right? They're saying this is what happened. Or they're saying it means this. It happened. This is what it's referring to. It's but this is what happened. I really would like to see if you have another way of understanding that. Oh, you see, that's the thing. We cannot interpret the Torah the way we want to. The Torah came from Moshe with its interpretation. Targum Onkelos is also at Har Sinai. Then you might say, well, he only lived thousands of years, but what he's going to write there, Hashem gave to Moshe already Har Sinai. But the translation. The translation is the interpretation. Now, if you want to say that translation with
Onkelos says the mountain is floating above him?
no, Onkelos, the Targum Onkelos, in the Chumash you have the Chumash with Targum Onkelos, right? It's the translation into Aramaic. That was given to Moshe at Har Sinai.
Okay.
He lived 1,000 years later, right? But
The problem is when, Torah Shabbat Peh gets into the Midrash. And then it's not always so literal, sometimes it's a metaphor.
okay.
So...
But when you get the Torah Shebechtav, you have to go literally. And literally means what Chazal tell us is literally. I cannot make up a definition in the Torah and saying that's what it means. Because unless I have something to back me up. Right? The Gemara says, the word Veitzatzu Tachtit Tahar says they were translate literally means under the mountain. All right, there I could find another interpretation for B'tachtit Tahar. You're right. All right, but we're taking it. Let's take it as it says. We have Pardes, Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod. Right. So Pshat is what it says. Remez, what it's hinting at. Right. So there's things that I look at it on the surface level. Then I go another layer down, another layer down, another layer down, or up. Right. I'm getting through all these different layers. It's all in the way I see the words. All right. And again, these words are not the way I can translate it. The words are the way Chazal translated. Okay. Where do we see by Achashverosh that they received the Torah again? It says in the Megillah, again, it says, Kimu v'kiblu hayudim. Right? Now, this, if I go, as you were saying before, I go literally by the text. So it says, they accepted upon themselves to keep the days of Purim. Right? Except I'm taking it out of context now. And I'm going to say, Kimu, they accepted, they were b'kayim, they were doing, v'kiblu, and they accepted upon themselves, right? Hayudim. So what did they accept? So the Gemara says, Kimu mashi kiblu kvar. As they accepted what they ratified, they kimu, they did mashi kiblu kvar, what they already received. They received the Torah at Har Sinai. Here, they were ratifying it. So you're learning from the pasuk, even though that's not pshat of the pasuk. Yeah, I take it out of context. I say, this is what the pasuk is teaching us. Okay. All right, you know what? We'll stop here. Okay, we'll continue.